Schools. These are the places where many people spend much of their young lives. By the time someone graduates from high school, they've spent about 13 years in the education system. The actual time spent in school is almost 581 full days. This means that a student is getting nearly 13,000 hours of instruction before they graduate. Or so one would think.
What would you say if I told you that up to 600 of those hours are spent testing? If this were true, almost 22% of the time in school is used not for learning, but for testing. Add the average of 85 hours spent annually preparing for these tests, and, well, you get a pretty big number.
Testing and the focus on testing and the number of tests that students have to take nowadays and the number of tests that teachers have to administrate. Huge controversy surrounding that, of course. It wasn't until No Child Left Behind during the Bush administration that we really saw regular testing of students on a regular basis. And we've seen bipartisan support of that through the Obama administration and Race to the Top. And now, in the last few years, we've started to see a crescendo of a backlash. And a lot of that is tied to Common Core state standards and some other initiatives that boost the amount of tests, the number of tests that students have to take.
It was brought about in No Child Left Behind by really the business community and governors and so forth, in ensuring that our students were ready for the workforce. So the only way that you could determine that along the way is having some sort of measurement tool. I think as long as the measurement tool is aligned to the curriculum and standards that we're supposed to be teaching, and it's not overburdened and too much emphasis or too much testing is put upon our teachers and students, I don't think it's a bad thing. But I think right now we've got to identify and address really what we should be testing and how often.
Though there are upsides to America's rigorous standardized testing program, such as added accountability and assurance of equal education, do they really outweigh the downsides?
Time that could be spent teaching students is used for arguably unnecessary tests. A sizable portion of the government's funds is used for such tests, and students are weighed down by the extra stress. All of these problems need to be addressed.
I'm Esther Weiss.
And I'm Haley Royce, and we want the presidential candidates to talk about testing in schools. One of the main problems with standardized testing is just the sheer amount of time it takes not only to take the actual test, but also to prepare for them.
It was found that students in heavily tested grades can spend up to 50 hours taking tests. And this number doesn't even count the average of 85 hours of preparations for the tests.
This means that students in such grades as 6th, 8th, and 11th could be spending over 130 hours on testing.
We visited Terra Elementary School to interview 4th grade teacher Mrs. Steering about standardized testing.
Probably 4 times a month, so 9 months, so 36, probably 36. I probably assess each week in some area, possibly more.
However, wasted time isn't the only problem with standardized testing. One must also consider the money that is spent on testing,